Okay, sorry. We're back. I believe this is part three with Noreen telling us about her travels. I think she had told us about how she had gone to Germany, found love, and was able to move to the place that she had been told that's where she would end up in Spain. And she expressed to us about how beautiful it was, all the plants and the fruits and the vegetables and everything. So I don't know how long Noreen was there before she left. But now, Noreen, you left Spain, you went back to Chicago. Is that right? Do I have that right?
Yes, absolutely.
And you went back to Chicago, but you were in Oak Park.
Right.
Okay, and she established her business, which I understand she was well known. You know, they say we're only 6 degrees from separation, and I mentioned Noreen to a young friend of mine when I was in Chicago, and she said, "Oh, I know Noreen." What?
What? I
She
didn't know
said,
that.
"Yeah." She said, "I know Noreen," and a couple who are friends of hers introduced her to Noreen. Now, this is a young woman, and I was just so proud and so happy. I said, wow, wow, this is really something. So anyway, Noreen came back to Oak Park, started her business, stayed in Oak Park for a little while, and then I really think that she came to the Dominican Republic because of love too.
No.
Is that right?
No.
Okay.
No, definitely not. No, you know something? I was lucky enough to have met different people over the course of time. I did have a Dominican boyfriend. I did, but I was never in love with him. I don't think he was in love with me. We had a relationship, you know, but again, it was long distance, so
Mhm.
how close can that be? That's always difficult. But he said to me, I'll help you get wherever it is that you want to go. So our deal was that I would come on vacation, he would meet me, and we could go to different locations so that I got a feeling for different cities, what they had to offer, where they were, the population, whether it was a good spot for me or not. And so we did that over the course of a number of years, actually. And so he was very instrumental. He treated me well, I treated him well. But at a certain point, I knew that it was not a sustainable relationship because of the age differences. Now, let me just say something about that here. Here in the Dominican, the men really love women of all ages, young, old, fat, thin, whatever. A lot of hair, no hair. They just like women. So the issue simply is, it was more my issue of his age than it was the other way around. But he was a very instrumental, and there's a lot of, you know, as they some say, winter spring relationships, you know, here, and it's not at all frowned upon. As a Black American older woman, it's interesting because the older men who come are looking for young Dominican women for the most part, and that's a nice combination, to tell you the truth. But young Dominican women are looking for foreign men, and Dominican men are looking for foreign women. So there are opportunities out here, maybe not as ample as might have been, you know, at age 30 or whatever, but a lot of that is happening here, and it does work out on a certain level. The issue is that there's going to be a huge economic difference. If you're an American and you are either retired or you have an income, it's going to be far bigger and greater than the average Dominican. So here, you know, a lot of people make $400 a month, okay? And that's it. Now, if you have a little more education, maybe you work in a bank or something like that, maybe you make $1,200 a month. But that's not the $3,000 or $4,000 that some people that may be watching this are used to. So again, if you have a relationship or you have even friendships, there's going to be an economic difference. But still, we can still all enjoy the weather, the beach, the food, the hanging out. There's a lot of hanging out going on here. And it's beautiful country. It really is, you know. Again, there are cultural differences that you have to get used to if you're going to be around. But they treat us very well. Again, the living standard, if you go more towards the American end, is more like what you're used to. If you do the Dominican standard, it will be smaller places, less expensive places, but still decent living. There are no, you're never going to be introduced to the ghetto here because you're foreign. So you're never even going to see that part of how people live. But it'll be decent living, more than decent living. And I've enjoyed it.
Noreen, thank you so much. I mean, we could go on and talk for another week about your experiences. I will tell you, I don't know what I would have done if I had not met you. I'm so happy to have met you, and I know that we'll stay in touch. And Noreen did come to Chicago a couple of years ago for some medical procedures,
Right.
and I got a chance to visit with her then, which was very nice. I think this is a friendship that will last. We'll be hanging around each other. And she wants to take a train ride across the country, I think. So there's a possibility we may do that. I don't know, but we'll see.
I would love that.
We're both golden girls, so
Yeah.
we may do that. Again, thank you so much. And again, subscribe, make comments, share, thumbs up, thumbs down. Okay, but let me hear from you, all right? Okay, see you soon. And don't forget, you must always be kind to yourself and be kind to others. Bye-bye.